Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you didn't get a free seat, we got a live feed in room 201. Don't forget about that. We have a live feed. About 100 countries are watching us. So just in case, don't forget to take your headsets. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, welcome one more time and good morning and welcome to the second International Youth Nuclear Forum Obninsk 2024. Just in case you didn't hear or you just came in, please take your headsets. They're right near the entrance. There's a turn on and off button right in the front. There's on the right and left. You can control the volume. And for channel 1, channel 0 is just the usual the sound of the auditorium. You don't need it. Channel 1, numero uno. Channel 1 is for Russian. Channel 2 is for English. Channel 3 is for Chinese. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay. And don't forget to take your headset and take a headset for your friend. Yeah, why not? Welcome, and we have minutes until the beginning. Be ready. Be ready for the first plenary session. We're going to talk about the dreams that will come true, the dreams that you're dreaming of, the future of nuclear energy. Thank you so much. We're soon to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, we got just a couple of minutes left until the official start. The beginning, please take your seats. It is so comfortable when you sit and watch this stage. Really, I'm telling you, because at some point of time, there won't be any free seats. And just in case you didn't get the seat, we have a live feed in room 201. This is also information for everyone who is watching the live stream over 100 countries worldwide. So we welcome everyone who is watching and listening to the words that we're going to say and start in about a couple of minutes. So be ready. Please take your seats. We'll be more than happy to see you seated and ready to welcome our first participants of the start, the exclamation mark of the second Youth International Forum. Let's be ready. And also do not forget to take the headsets. Near the entrance, there's a headset. 0, don't mind. Don't take in consideration. Number 1 is for Russian language. Number 2 is for English. Number 3 is for Chinese. And in our big screens, if you noticed, and you probably noticed there's no other option, you see the Wi-Fi login and password on the screen. You'll need it. Just in case we have some interactive thing going on right after every plenary session. So be ready. We will need your feedback on this one, and the Wi-Fi will be a really, really big help for this one. So use the login and the password on the screen. Thank you so much. We're really soon to begin. Please enter the hall and take your seats. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seconds left until the beginning, so we'll be more than happy. Every letter in this phrase is capital. We'll be more than happy to see you in the hall. So please take your seats. We'll be more than happy. There's some free seats in the front. Yeah. So take your seats. In case you didn't get any free seats, there's a live feed in room 201. That's this floor, second floor. Please take your seat. We're soon to begin. Less than a minute, about a minute to start. Thank you so much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting our session. Just a slight reminder, there's a headset right near the entrance. Channel 1 is for Russian, channel 2 is for English, and channel 3 is for Chinese. Take your seats. We're ready to start. There's some free seats left. If you didn't find your seat, there is a live feed in room 201. And please connect to the Wi-Fi. Yes, the login and password is on the screens because we're going to have a little interactive thing going on right after every plenary session because we're going to need your feedback. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being here. We're more than welcome and happy to see each and one of you over here. We're soon to start. Ladies and gentlemen, we got about a minute until the beginning. Oh, please welcome everyone who just joined us. Take your seats. We're soon to start. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see a vacant seat, there is still some left, especially the front row. Take your seat. We'll be more than happy, and we're going to start in 60 seconds. Thank you so much. Dear colleagues and friends, we are pleased to welcome you to the Rosatom Technical Academy. The main priority of the Academy and the Rosatom Corporation and of the entire nuclear industry is safety. So we draw your attention to the following important points. Today, no safety training sessions are scheduled at the Technical Academy. If you hear alarm signals, proceed to the nearest exit and wait for further instruction. We wish you a good and safe day. Where Rosatom is, it is safe.
Brightest minds in human history followed a dream. Dreams inspire and empower us to act. A dream about the nature of things helped Dmitry Mendeleev develop his famous periodic table. The other dream instilled Maria Sklodowska-Curie with a passion for science with no borders, and she became the first female Nobel Prize winner in physics. We can't imagine our lives without laser technology, thanks to Nikolai Brasov's dream. Igor Kurchatov dreamed of a peaceful atom. 70 years ago, he made his dream come true in Obninsk and created the world's first nuclear power plant. Today, not only does nuclear illuminate and warm our cities, it also saves lives by fighting diseases. It helps produce and preserve food and provides millions of people with clean drinking water. Do you have a dream for yourself? What do you dream about? Share your dreams with one another, because they must have lots in common. Let's join the efforts to make our dreams a reality. With every little step together, we come closer to our common dream.
participants of the second International Youth Nuclear Forum, Obninsk New 2024. We begin the high-level plenary session InsPowered by Atoms, our dream for the next 70 years. For the welcoming address to the forum participants, we invite to the stage the Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Chernyshenko.
Дорогие друзья,
Dear friends, there is a welcoming address and a congratulation from Vladimir Putin to the team and the veterans of the state corporation Rosatom, to the participants of all the celebratory events dedicated to the 70 years anniversary of Obninsk Nuclear Power Plant construction. Dear friends, I congratulate you on this remarkable occasion. It is truly a historical event. We are celebrating a 70 years commissioning of the first on this planet nuclear power plant in the city of Obninsk. The launch of Obninsk Nuclear Power Plant became a bright page in the history of humanity, harnessing the peaceful atom. It gave a kickstart to nuclear energy development in our country and way beyond. Throughout these years, the local domestic nuclear industry has gone a long way, and today, advanced nuclear technologies open new doors in energy, in medicine, in harmonic development of the Arctic territories, in implementing the national space program and other spheres. And clearly, the nuclear energy is a main contributor to ensuring nuclear parity and defense capabilities of our country. It is remarkable that the current team of Obninsk NPP and the Rosatom Corporation are nurturing and serve as custodians for scientific and technological heritage of many previous generations. They're the ones who are actively involved in solving significant state tasks. They are ready to share their knowledge and rich experience with young experts, students of industrial colleges and foreign partners. It is symbolical that in these days, this city is hosting an international youth nuclear forum, Obninsk New. I wish you all the best. Keep realizing your dream. Signed by Vladimir Putin. Esteemed friends, ladies and gentlemen. We are grateful to our president for his remarkable words. During his meeting with Rafael Grossi, General Director of IAEA, Vladimir Putin spoke about the need for all the states to have equal access to peaceful atom, and I hope that the partnership between Russia and other countries will continue to get strength, to become stronger. Today, amongst the speakers, I'm happy to welcome our great colleagues from Zimbabwe, Thailand, China. When our president visited China during his last visit, there's been a joint declaration of the states, and a decision was made to deepen partnership in peaceful atom. And I would like to personally thank all the colleagues who are here, who helped us to build the constructive bridge and constructive dialogue between Russia and China in a nuclear sphere. Amon Nurvira, thanks to your support, Zimbabwe has become a very active participant of the African Network University, and our higher educational establishments are continuing to build ties, and 19 Russian universities had already signed 44 different contracts with the Zimbabwe organizations. I cannot but notice the International Nuclear Youth community that is built by Jisai Saitauptra, who's the co-founder of Youth for the Energy of Southeast Asia organization, and it is symbolical that we are speaking here during the date of the 70 years anniversary of the launch of the nuclear power plant here in Obninsk, and I congratulate you on the date. The Soviet Union had a task to start using nuclear reactors in civil applications, and thanks to the relentless work of our scientists, thanks to their ambition, we managed to achieve that goal. Since the date, when Obninsk NPP was commissioned, the era of peaceful atoms started. Already in 1988, the first Soviet nuclear submarine was constructed, named Leninsky Komsomol, and in 1959, the shipbuilding yards released the Lenin nuclear icebreaker. Our science continues to produce more powerful nuclear power plants in Leningrad, Kursk, and other areas. And in the 21st century, an innovative energy unit at Novorossiysk was launched, and a floating energy unit, academician Lomonosov, was launched recently, as well as the Arctic nuclear icebreaker went off the staples. Today, nuclear energy is believed to be the cleanest energy sources in our states. And our government continues to support research in the area of nuclear technologies and their use in medicine, agriculture, as well as in exploring the space. On the 18th of June, the president of our country, Vladimir Putin, adopted the list of priority foresights for the scientific advancement and the most important science-based technologies, amongst which there is a significant part that belongs to nuclear energy. Mr. Likachev, I'm sure that under your command, the scientific potential of Rosatom will only grow. As far as international work of Rosatom is considered, Rosatom today is participating in constructing a lot of NPPs, including some abroad. Akuyu in Turkey, Rupur in Bangladesh, the Taiwan in China, and Tianwan in China, and others. And for such projects, of course, we must strengthen our international capacity building projects and educational partnership. We just met with the ambassadors in Obninsk Tech, the international ambassadors, so we're positive that this work will continue. In the new decree of national goals, our president had vested us with the task to increase the amount of foreign students that are studying in Russian universities, at least to 500,000 people by 2030. And in order to implement that initiative, this year there will be a national project put in place, the Future for the Children. And there's going to be a separate federal project called Russia in the World. And we heard some desires and wishes from the ambassadors, which will be incorporated in the project. Foreign students will have conditions for residence in Russia and professional development in Russia. They can get educational quotas, grants, and scientific and research grants. Also, our double diplomas program will be going on in order to ensure comfortable residential conditions. By the decree of the government, no less than 25 dormitories will be created, or campuses will be created, and by 2026 this program will be expanded to incorporate 40 modern campuses of the university. Each campus will be linked to specific technologies or specific industries, and we'll be able to train staff, we'll be able to carry on research across priority areas, including nuclear energy. And I'm sure that these new campuses will allow foreign students to reside comfortably, to work comfortably, and to continue their operations here in Russia. In order to carry on our research, today our country observes the development of a unique grid of scientific power units, mega science, the neutron source will be used for the new high-flow reactor, the PIC type reactor, and new types of materials will be researched. Last year for PIC, a modernized nuclear fuel was supplied and installed. The PIC unit is only one of the few newest Russian developments that the scientists of the whole world have access to now and can use. Also, in this country, we'll have the newest educational and training center of nuclear medicine and nuclear therapy, and it is all carried out under the support and the auspices of the Kurchatov Institute that Mr. Kovalchuk is in charge for many years. Your work and the work of your team had been always recognized, not only here domestically, but around the globe. The research of peaceful atom is carried out by young scientists as well. In our young laboratories, we have people who are not just theoretical physicists and who research theoretical systems, but there are medicine experts, there's agricultural experts, and a lot more industries. I'm sure in this room we will find lots of representatives of the Radiology Institute for the Youth Laboratory, the MIFI Lab, the Obninsk branch of MIFI, which is known as one of the leading centers of training experts for the nuclear industry. As of today, in 22 universities of the country, the experts for nuclear technologies are being trained. Of course, the majority of the students are studying at MIFI and the branches thereof. On a yearly basis, our labor market receives more than 1,500 highly qualified experts across various fields. And in 2023, when it comes to enrollment, more than 2,000 students decided to connect their life to nuclear physics. When it comes to budget quotas, they remain to be the same as previous years, but we also hope to increase them. Apart from capacity building and scientific research, there's 5 universities that take part in the Priority 2030 program, and there are some engineering schools that are part of it. When it comes to engineering schools or secondary education, our nuclear MIFI university takes a huge role here, plays a huge role in here. They help students to do projects. When it comes to these leading engineering schools, students and young scientists, apart from getting the education, they develop their own projects. For example, young scientists of the Tomsk Polytechnical, they are now developing a first in Russia set of machines for non-destructive quality control measures. When the president addressed the Federal Assembly, he set them a task, a very specific one for the next 6 years, to increase the amount of engineering schools up to 100 in the country. Therefore, there are more and more opportunities for young guys and girls out there. Dear participants of the forum, the key issues on our agenda today are technologies and innovations in the peaceful nuclear industry. And the central topic, the backbone of that discussion, something that we are trying to discuss today, to pin down today, is the future of nuclear industry for the 70 years to come. Because nuclear energy is not a destructive weapon today, it's an indestructible potential, inexhaustible potential. And in 70 years, in 50 years, the words that just uttered will once again be remembered as something extremely important. And I wish you all a very productive work and very productive deliberations, and I'm sure that you will make a great contribution to advancing nuclear industry, not just of this country, but the rest of the world. Thank you very much.
For a welcoming address to the forum participants, we invite to this stage the governor of the Kaluga region, Vladislav Shapsha.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chernyshenko. Dear friends, I'm happy to see all the delegates of this forum here in Kaluga in the city of Obninsk. 70 years ago, this very date, the first nuclear power plant was put into operation. And definitely, the fate of nuclear energy as an industry and Obninsk are inseparable. Not only did the city see a first nuclear power plant to be built, various other nuclear technologies were born in here that are now used in medicine, agriculture, in natural elements observations. It was from here that the pioneers of nuclear submarine fleet started functioning, and the city itself got the proud name of scientific city back in the past. But these achievements could not be possible without the energy of the young, the energy of great youthful scientists, and I'm happy to see so many talented and motivated hopefuls in the room. You're the future of nuclear industry. The experts claim that in 25 years, across the whole globe, there will be 4 million people involved in the nuclear industry, and I'm sure that Obninsk will play a significant role in training the new generation of atomic experts. In order to do that, together with Rosatom, we're establishing a new scientific and educational center. The idea was supported by the president of our country, Mr. Putin, and maybe amongst you, there are people who'll soon come back here for new knowledge. The development of global nuclear industry depends a lot on international cooperation and collaboration. Back in the day, an industrial breakthrough became possible due to the competition between the countries. But now, when it comes to the issues of efficiency, safety, and accessibility of peaceful atom, we believe of bigger significance is the idea of collaboration. This forum is a venue for young scientists and young researchers. We invite the scientific youth to collaborate. There's more for us if we collaborate, if we do it together. Once again, congratulations on the 70 years anniversary of the launch of the first NPP.
And now it's time for a video greeting to the participants by the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi.
It is a pleasure to be part of this International Youth Nuclear Forum and to speak to so many young people passionate about nuclear energy and science. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the world's first grid-connected nuclear power plant in Obninsk. For nearly 70 years, nuclear power has helped fuel economies and mitigate harmful carbon emissions. Today, nuclear energy is more important than ever. It's quite simple. Global climate goals will not be achieved without a big increase in nuclear energy capacity. That's what experts have concluded and what the world agreed at the most recent UN Climate Change Conference, COP28, held in the United Arab Emirates last December. Doubling or even tripling global nuclear capacity by 2050 will require a big increase in the skilled people who make nuclear energy possible. It will require a new generation of scientists, engineers, lawyers, and communicators to bring new perspectives and experiences. We will need to learn from each other and inspire each other. These are things you will be doing at the International Youth Nuclear Forum. In your careers, you will be shaping the future of nuclear energy, building on accomplishments like the Brest Advanced Reactor and Academic Lomonosov, the world's first floating small modular reactor. Education, training, and collaboration are key to your future, and they are central to what the IAEA does through internships, fellowships, or training programs. We are determined to make sure the nuclear field is as open to women as it is to men. Our Marie Sklodowska-Curie Fellowship Program offers master's degree candidates financial support, and our Lise Meitner program gives professional women career-enhancing opportunities. I urge you to look them up and to apply. In closing, let me commend you for being here and encourage you to take full advantage of the opportunities available. Thank you.
And now we got a video greeting to the participants by the Director General of the World Nuclear Association, Sama Bilbao y Leon.
Dear Excellencies, dear participants of the Second International Youth Nuclear Forum, dear colleagues, dear friends, all of you, friends of a cleaner and more equitable energy future. Thank you for the opportunity to join you, even if just virtually, to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the first connection to the grid of the Obninsk Nuclear Power Plant. It is truly remarkable that barely 6 months after the Atoms for Peace speech, the science city of Obninsk already started to enjoy the benefits of nuclear electricity from the first grid-connected nuclear power plant in the world. Since that momentous occasion, many countries have followed on Russia's footsteps, conquering the power of the peaceful youth atom. And you know, the impact of this achievement has reached millions of people all over the world, giving them access to abundant, affordable, 24/7 clean energy, better health, better education, fresh water, nutritious food, and an overall improved quality of life. And frankly, having here their representatives from 70 countries is a testament to the unifying power of nuclear energy. Now, 70 years later, as the world faces the challenges of climate change and energy poverty together, nuclear energy has been once again identified as one of the key technologies to address these challenges. As you know, last year at COP28 in Dubai, 25 countries in 4 continents boldly declared their commitment to tripling global nuclear capacity by 2030. This means using nuclear energy not only to produce electricity, but also heat to help decarbonize the entire economy. We are talking about district heating, fresh water from desalination, process heat from the metallurgical, chemical, petrochemical, cement, ammonia, many other industries. This growth will necessitate investment in research and innovation. And very importantly, we will need to inspire many talented young scientists and engineers to bring together the opportunities offered by nuclear energy with the latest ideas and technologies, such as artificial intelligence, advanced manufacturing, new materials. I think that there are very, very exciting opportunities for all of you, the next generation of nuclear scientists and leaders. So I want to wish you a fruitful and inspiring second International Youth Nuclear Forum. And just as importantly, I want to wish you an enriching and successful career, hopefully in nuclear. The future of the world is in your hands, the hands of young people such as yourself. And I really hope that 70 years from now, people all over the world will come together to celebrate the positive impact of all your collective achievements. So thank you and enjoy your gathering over there in Obninsk.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sama Bilbao y Leon. We promise we're going to enjoy this gathering in Obninsk and welcome everyone one more time. Okay, the main theme, the main topic of today, the speakers, they're going to come up to the stage in about, we got, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 seconds left until the official start and beginning. Be ready to welcome. Let's give a good round of applause to everyone who just opened up our forum today. Thank you for our special guests. About the dreams. I want to talk about the dreams. The QR code is on the screen. Say, can you please use your respective phones and enter the application? This is the time during the plenary session where you can enter the application and write down what is your dream. What are you dreaming of? What is your dream? What are you dreaming about? At the end of the session, we're gonna write all the dreams that from every one of you on the screen. We're gonna see that. I don't know. We're gonna see what's the most famous and popular dream. What are you dreaming of? What is the future of the nuclear energy? We're so interested to see your feedback. This is one of the main topics and themes of today. So please use the QR code over there on the screen. Ask the join and then submit. When you write, you can use more than 2 words. Today we're gonna pave the way to our dream together. So the participants of the next session that are ready to come up there on the stage will try to answer a few important questions. What are the next goals for the global nuclear industry? What do different nuclear stakeholders dream of? And what steps must be taken to turn us from dreamers into goers? To answer these questions, we invite to the stage and kindly ask to take their seats. Be ready to give a good round of applause. I hope your hands are free for this one. Moderator of the plenary session, Mr. Grigory Trubnikov, Director of the Joint Institute of the Nuclear Research. Ms. Li Li, Deputy General Manager, China General Nuclear Power Group. Dr. Mikhail Chudakov, Deputy Director General and Head of Department of Nuclear Energy. Dr. Alexey Likhachov, Director General Rosatom. We kindly ask you to take the central seat. Dr. Mikhail Kovalchuk, President of National Research Center Kurchatov Institute. His Excellency Amon Murvira, Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Mr. Yang Chaodong, Deputy Chief Economist, Head of Human Resources Policy Department, China National Nuclear Corporation. Ms. Jitsai Santaputra, Co-Founder, Youth for Energy Southeast Asia. We wish the participants of the plenary session of the forum a productive work. Mr. Trubnikov, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Здравствуйте, дорогие коллеги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues and dear friends. For me, it's a great honor to be on the same stage with these highly respected individuals. And we will scratch the surface of the following topic. Next 50 or 70 years, what they will look like in terms of humanity and nuclear energy interaction. We have many countries on stage, and in the audience we have representatives from 70+ countries. And I thank Rosatom and Obninsk for this wonderful event. Many, many years ago, silk manufacturing technologies launched one of the most efficient and energy reliant project, and I'm of course talking about the Great Silk Route. Then the era of geographical discoveries came. Next, we implemented railroad transportation. The goal was the same: to connect nations and people, to trade and to guarantee the sustainable development of our world. Because not only merchandise was exchanged, we saw knowledge exchange, data exchange, experience exchange as well. And today I heard someone talking about 3 pillars of humanity: intelligence, materials, and energy. These are 3 pillars for the humanity. And today we will learn the opinion of our experts as far as the development of the energy is concerned, with a specific focus on nuclear energy, which is the greenest and the most sustainable. Of course, the first person to speak will be Dr. Alexey Likhachov, Director General of Rosatom. Dr. Likhachov, today the world celebrates a very important date, and Grossi was very emotional. 70 years have passed since the launch of the first true NPP. Yeah. Physicists and their souls are lyricists as well. And Dmitry Blakhintsov, who was the head of this NPP launched, sent a telegram to Kurchatov and Alexandrov with the following words: the steam was fueled to the generator's turbine. And Anatoly Alexandrov answered, "I hope that this steam was light enough to you to take pleasure of it." So the world ever since has been developing thanks to the evolution of reliable and safe atomic energy, nuclear energy. And the development of NPP grid around the world and the interest from the youngsters show the relevance of the topic, because NPPs stand as well for medicine, for agriculture, for IT, for communication, for many different industries. And in Obninsk, we not only celebrate the launch of Obninsk NPP, but we also hold the second International Youth Nuclear Forum Obninsk New 2024. As I already mentioned, it's second edition. And the founding fathers of the nuclear industry were not only ambitious dreamers, but also very skilled managers. They were able to bring to life the dream of thousands and millions of people. The technology changes very rapidly. It's breathtaking. What helps you implement such large-scale technological and scientific projects for the world? Thank you very much. Let me talk you through my option of the legend. It was not a telegram. Blahintsev and Alexandrov were present at the launch of the NPP. The answer to your question won't be easy because a lot of things inspire me and my comrades. So we are, of course, inspired by the history. You mentioned our founding fathers as being creative, goal-oriented, but also very brave. Fast backwards 70 years ago, you can feel in the air the challenge that was voiced out in 1945 at the end of the Second World War or the end of the Great Patriotic War, when thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were coming back from war. Tens of millions never came back. The country was in ruins, and the events in Hiroshima and Nagasaki raised the bar for the Soviet industry. This challenge was solved in 1949, and we started reconstructing this nuclear parity back then. And I should not explain why this challenge was so important. So in 1947, the Soviet scientists, regardless of the fact that their names were in the blacklist because of the military nuclear project, they were brave enough to come up with a peaceful nuclear energy application, and the governance and the government supported them. So those people gave birth not only to the nuclear shield, but also to this NPP, who has this paramount importance. It's Prometheus important, like bringing fire to humanity. It was a large-scale experiment to prove the possibility of having the peaceful atom. We are still inspired by their bravery. The nuclear community stays inspired. Our academia in Kurchatov Institute, people who create atomic capacities in the north and in the south as well, in Turkey, in Bangladesh and Egypt. Those people develop, move forward the technology regardless of the sanctions, of the economic war that we are facing. Nevertheless, we work abroad, we sign new contracts, and hundreds of thousands of people invest their souls and hearts. Mr. Shadayev creates the fourth generation of the nuclear energy. Mr. Kovalchuk, Tatiana Terentьева, who work with students and youngsters. But I'm mostly inspired with my work with students and youth. When I talk with our impact team, with our nuclear ambassadors, with the university, Moscow Energy University students, it inspires even more. And of course, we need to understand that sooner or later you, dear postgrads, dear bachelors, dear masters, will replace us. You will be sitting in my chair, you will be working against the control panels. What does it mean? It means that you should be better than us. You should be more skilled than us. You should be better educated than us. And of course, you need to love your motherland. Russia or any other country that nurtured you, that sent you here to be educated, to later use your capacities for the development of your own nations. In this context, the work of Rosatom and the Kurchatov Institute is aimed not only on ourselves, but on our friendly nations, our nation friends as well. So I try to be as succinct as possible. So my main inspiration is people. Thank you, Alexei, Evgenievich, Mr. Likhachov. Your very sincere emotions and the smiles and burning eyes that I see from the audience testify that you are correct. Obninsk is a rapidly developing city, and we have very interesting scientific and technological projects here. And you were very wise by building this bridge between Russia and our friendly countries, and globally to countries that want to have their own peaceful nuclear problem. Because the USSR offered this peaceful atomic technology 70 years ago, and those solutions laying the foundation of the modern green economy and of the possibility to fully and comprehensively implement the Sustainable Development Goals. Africa has a separate status, the green continent status, and African countries cooperate very actively on the technological field. And I would like to give the floor to the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Amon Murvira. And quick remark, we had this guided tour today at the Obninsk NPP, and we were told that it had been built during 3 years from the scratch, and His Excellency Murvira and our colleague Mr. Chudakov said, yes, we used to be able to build an NPP from the scratch. Now we need to spend 5 to 7 years to upgrade the document. And Mr. Murvira told one thing, being a pioneer is always simpler. So I would like to know, Your Excellency, what is your take on the next 50 to 70 years of the nuclear technology? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm very humbled to be here in the Russian Federation once again. I just want to start by proposition. And my proposition, or propositions, is that there's no chaos in the universe. There is order in energy and materials. And that order is found in the building block of the universe, which is the atom. So where does chaos come from? Chaos is in the mind of people. And this is why we need education, to remove that chaos so that we understand order. And if we use that order productively in a scientific way, we are able to live in harmony with nature. So these are my propositions. And based on these propositions, I want then to say one of the current threats to a prosperous future for humanity is climate change or generally environmental change, which we know results from anthropogenic activities that are discordant with the workings of the universe. And as said, that limited scientific understanding of the universe, which is our world, is the primary driver of our problems in what we call now the Anthropocene, which is the time that we are living in, where we are dominating or we pretend to dominate the universe. But now we know that we can actually work with it. And increasing our understanding of the universe on the basis of understanding its building blocks, which are the atoms, may enhance our chances for attaining a sustainable future. So I'm looking at a world which is much better in the next 70 years by realizing that it's not the universe which is chaotic, it's our minds which are chaotic. And through correct education, science, we are able then to live a much better life. So we believe that it is through nuclear science and technology that we gain understanding of the universe and that we can develop technologies as well as nuclear-related technologies that may provide a guarantee for a sustainable future. For this reason, I believe that a truly sustainable future for humanity can only come on the basis of technology that is developed based on clear understanding of the workings of the universe, which I believe is what we saw today at Obninsk, at the first NPP. People discovered that there was no chaos, and that if we remove chaos from our minds, we are able to actually harness the power of nature. So we believe that health, environment, agriculture, industry, and energy, when looked at from an atomic level, like what is happening in the Russian Federation through Rosatom, will enable us to will take us to the future. Through good crop breeding, using mutation breeding, and so forth and so on, we believe that we can go much further. So the issue is looking at the building blocks. That's where order begins. And when order begins at the building block, and we understand the building block, the next 70 years we'll see a carbon neutral world. Because by accumulating carbon, it means we are not understanding what is going on in the universe. If we do understand, there is no need for carbon accumulation at all. But then it means that knowledge, the way we give our education has to change. I want to say that in Zimbabwe, we have transformed our education system from an education system of rote learning, of cramming things, to an education of dreamers and doers, which is actually the issue which we are discussing about here. We codenamed our education heritage-based education 5.0, and I always like the Russian Federation idea of heritage, which is homeland. Our heritage is our source of power. It is when we apply science on our heritage and materials, we are likely to go into the future using clear scientific principles and so forth. So, using international cooperation, particularly cooperation, very strong cooperation with the Russian Federation, we will be able to move mountains, if not oceans, to become a very peaceful but powerful world, which understands what's going on, where chaotic minds are removed and order is restored. So through our collaboration, for example, with win-win collaboration with the Russian Federation through Rosatom in the area of nuclear science and technology development, we are focusing on developing the human capital infrastructure that is the basis of the next movement in the environment, in health, in energy, and so forth. So we believe that the skilled workforce, as the Director General was talking about, it's about the mind, it's about the brain. Once the brain is sorted, chaos is sorted. So the next 70 years is going to see a developed mind that is able to remove all this carbon accumulation, all this misunderstanding of how the world works, improvement. And I believe it's at atomic level, which is basically why Rosatom is there, which is exactly why we are doing international cooperation. And talking about sanctions, you can't sanction the mind. The mind will always break free. So we believe that through science, technology, and innovation, within nuclear science and technology, we will be able to make a carbon neutral world, and the next 70 years are going to be 70 years of progress. This is my take at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Да, вы абсолютно правы.
You're exactly right. The fundamental education, fundamental science are a cornerstone on which mutually respecting international collaboration is built. It's a cornerstone, it's the foundation on which the humanity will be able to build its bright future. Nuclear technologies served as an impetus for the development of a whole range of neighboring industries and neighboring research. We've heard a lot about that already. There's been a presentation by Dmitry Chernyshenko, and we are fully aware of that fact. By strengthening international cooperation and by creating large research projects here in Russia, Russia turned to be a leader not just in nuclear energy, but also in genetic research, in nuclear medicine, quantum computing. When it comes to the range of opportunities opening up because of what our country does in the nuclear sphere, I'd like to address now our next speaker, who is the president of the National Research Center, the Kurchatov Institute, Mikhail Kovalchuk. Before Mikhail will take the floor and will deliver his take, on behalf of the audience, let me congratulate you, Mikhail Kovalchuk, with getting an award, the State Award from the President of Russia 2 weeks ago, a prize in science and technology for the fundamental research and for the development of the nuclear energy. Today, Russia is developing the mega science infrastructure. What was a dream for the country previously? You can list the countries with the fingers of one hand that can allow themselves to build large-scale projects like this. What will be your recommendations to the young generation of scientists and experts, those who participate in the forum and those who are already involved in the projects? How can they join? And how can they become a part of these projects? What shall we start off with? Mikhail, over to you. You know? Well, thank you for congratulating me. But I was not alone getting the prize. There were two other Rosatom representatives, Professor Adamov and Professor Smolov, were awarded together with me. So when you, the congratulations are due not just to me, but the whole team of Kurchatov Institute. It's a pinnacle of, well, it's an evidence of our joint success. The previous speaker had mentioned a phrase, building block. What I would like to say is, you know why Russia and the Soviet Union were successful in nuclear sphere and in space? Just because we had deep roots in fundamental science. And we learned how to create materials. And we learned how to build materials. And those materials actually had unique features that can operate underwater in space, high temperature, high pressure, chemical environment, abrasive environment. And why did we manage to learn that? Because we created our own research methods that allowed us to research the matter itself. And I'd like to say that today the world is moving to a new level, is stepping up the game. You might not notice it going with your daily lives, but it happens inevitably. First, the living matter. Well, we're moving away from the non-organic to organic materials. And second, we're moving towards a more atomic level. Let me tell you briefly about an idea. Let me just paint it in small brushstrokes. You know, conscientious science started 300 years ago when Newton was around. A man looked around, didn't quite get what he saw, and then turned it into a god or a deity. And then there was only one science that is called natural science. And there were scientists that belonged to just one particular track of science, natural scientists. But then 300 years passed. The original idea was that the person could not understand the nature around himself or herself, and then deticized it. But then, since we couldn't understand the whole, we started breaking into parts, taking out different subjects: physics, chemistry, zoology, botanics, and so on and so forth. Hundreds and thousands of disciplines in 300 years had been found. We narrowed down our scientific system, we narrowed down our educational system, and we narrowed down our industrial economy. But then we arrived to a deadlock, a cosmological deadlock, because it turned out that everything we operate with is only 5% of the matter that appeared 4 billion years ago during the Big Bang. Everything else is dark matter and dark energy. It means that we live in a world where we can only see, or we can only operate in our thinking, in our head, with 5% of matter. You know, the new units are being built in order to start moving towards a different kind of matter. Now let's go down to materials. You see, we started dissecting our nature into subjects, and by doing so, we build a unique civilization. But what we have today is a big box of jigsaw puzzles, and those puzzles are specific disciplines, right? And as those specific disciplines, we, as opposed to Newton times, are very well known to us. And instead of just moving down or narrowing it down, we can start synthesizing the data. We can start assembling the image of our nature using those pieces of puzzle that we know very well. For now, we can combine 5 disciplines only. We won't be able to combine all the disciplines. The first discipline here is a nano discipline. It's actually not a discipline. It's a technology of constructing materials by manipulating atoms, non-organic atoms. The second one is going to be bioorganic matter. One can produce hybrid detectors. For example, you can do living matter, and you can put a wafer of electronics. The third one is microelectronics, or IT. Microelectronics and IT technologies allow you to take the substrate, this living and non-living matter, and you can create a living organism out of it. And the fourth one, or the fourth area, is cognitive. Nano, bio, info, cognitive science. It's figuring out the brain, building algorithms that will breathe the new life to those systems that we're going to create, the hybrid systems. And it cannot be done without social and humanitarian science. First, we need to come up with a convergent technology, NBICS, Nano, Bio, Info, Cogno, Socio. Let me explain what it is and why Socio is required, why S is important, because these technologies are becoming a part of the landscape. And I'm not going to go down into details. Let me just tell you one thing. During the Newton times, there was natural philosophy, one science, natural science, which split into 2 parts. Natural created some natural science, and philosophy created humanitarian science. And in hundreds of years, one could find tens or hundreds of different disciplines that diverged. Today, humanitarian and scientific knowledge is converging instead. Let me give you a very simple example. Cognitive research is quite important today. What's cognitive research? Imagine I'm researching cognition. I ask you a question, and you answer to me. It means that by means of linguistics, by means of humanitarian science, I can research your brain. I can actually see into it. Imagine I tell you now something, and your mood had gone down. You become sad. There's another science that deals with it called psychology. Now imagine I told you something, you got agitated, excited, and like football fans, you went down to destroy stadiums, cars, or streets. There's another science that does that called sociology. Now, let's take the components I just spoke about. There's psychology, there's sociology, and linguistics. These are the 3 humanitarian sciences that boil down to researching brains. So cognitive research is purely humanitarian. But when I take a person inside a magnet resonance tomographer, an MRI machine, and I start repeating him or her my questions, and I see which parts of the brain are fired up on the screen, this is purely scientific knowledge. So, to the measure to which cognitive science was born as humanitarian, they become a part of the overall natural science. The second thing that I'm going to talk about now is genetics. Genetics has been growing for hundreds of years as ethnogenetics. Popular patterns of your fingerprints or brain footprints or whatever. You have ethnicity in there. You research clothes or religious patterns or languages, Uyghur Finnish. This is all ethnogenetics. It's purely humanitarian. But today, when I take a drop of your biomaterial and when I can decipher 3 billion pairs of genomes, calculating it in gene sequencers, this is purely natural science. And I can give you hundreds of similar examples. So today's science takes us to a new level. We move towards natural-based or natural similar technologies, where you take atoms and you can construct any material you want. And you use the whole arsenal, the whole tool set of knowledge that you have, including the humanitarian one. And that's why the president of Russia months ago just signed a decree about the strategy of developing natural similar or natural-like technologies in Russia, putting the Kurchatov Institute on top. This is first. And second, I'd like to tell you, now speaking about the materials, all of us want to, and today during the introductory word I said that developed countries, shall I already fall silent? Am I taking too much time, or can I still carry on? Because there's so many people to speak, right? I'm looking at them. Right, so in my presentation I spoke that the so-called developed countries used to own an arsenal of technologies that was inaccessible for the rest of the world. Today, the same technologies are being used by the rest of the world. And it means that the leading countries now, well, we can include tens of countries into that camp, including Russia and Soviet Union, they lost their exclusivity. They lost the only ownership, and that's the biggest problem. The West hadn't understood it yet, or maybe they're just putting a good face of it. The exclusivity is lost. It was only the West who used to produce cars to all the countries, and now cars can be produced by anyone. Now, my conclusion, or a summary. If each and every one of us, if any country wants to preserve its leadership, we must be moving forward. We must run faster, and we shouldn't be just lagging behind. We should come up with a breakthrough. And let me finish by what I started. I've been given a prize, a state prize. For what? Because we've built a new concept of a two-component atomic energy, atomic project 2.0. The current state of nuclear industry is 1.0. It used to be thermonuclear bomb or atomic bomb. The atomic bomb helped us to survive, actually, and that's why we live in this sovereign state. Next one is energy, and we have to be strong. Nuclear project 1.0 makes us untouchable. I mean, for the foreseeable future. No one can attack us. The nuclear project 2.0 needs to make us more significant in the nuclear world. And the idea here is such. Our basic energy is based on thermal neutrons. Our power plants run on thermal neutrons. Now, add fast neutrons to them. We have fast reactors, or breeder reactors. And there's a cross-exchange of fuel. There's the closing of the nuclear chain. But there's another problem of the nuclear energy, you know, which is the clearest and the purest form of energy, but there's spent nuclear fuel, right? If you include the molten fuel reactor, which serves as a filter, and then from the molten fuel you get pure water, and you add a tokamak on top, but as a thermal nuclear source, but not as an energy unit, but as a source of neutrons that can process uranium 238 and thorium into a nuclear fuel. What you have is, and what you get is, first, natural-like nuclear energy of a closed cycle. It means that as much activity as you take from the world, you extract energy, then you put it back into the nature. And second, if you put a tokamak on top, it allows you to process a significant number of waste, including the uranium waste, spent nuclear fuel, and thorium, into fuels, and then for thousands of years you will have your fuel. That's the challenge that we need to overcome. But for that we need new materials that we will continue to develop thanks to nature-like technologies. And then the last thing, in order to create nature-like technologies and nature-like materials, what you need to be able is to see the atoms. Now we can see them using synchrotrons or electrons, but now we need to see how they move, and for that some unique units are built out there. And I already told you about this when I spoke at MIFI, and actually invite everyone to participate. Me and Alexei here, we do it together jointly. There's Portvino We have a silo unit being built, a synchrotron plus a laser and 3 electrons, something that no one else out there in the world has. And everybody is invited to start taking part in the work, in the operations, in the construction of such units. This is where the future is. These are exactly the building blocks that our previous speaker spoke about. Thank you very much, Mikhail Kovalchuk. It's exactly about the future. And when you ask whether it's a lot or not a lot, well, whether you are saying too much or not too much, actually what you're saying is unique. It's a rare occasion that we come together like this, from different continents, from different and diverse backgrounds, to speak like this, to exchange opinions, to exchange ideas, to invite everybody to join projects, to learn more about the policies of countries. I think it's extremely relevant and it's the right discussion to have. And that discussion that we are having right now relies on the terms, on the formulations, on the wordings that are clear to all scientists out there, from natural scientists to humanitarians. Thank you. Now, speaking about international cooperation, and in this regard, we remembered the 50s and the 60s, when there's been a renaissance of the nuclear energy, especially in the Soviet Union. We remember that there's been a lengthy period for about 7 or 10 years, starting from the mid-50s until mid-60s, during which we had a very close and a very open cooperation with the Chinese People's Republic. Today, China, as Russia, is one of the leaders of global economies, one of the leaders of world energy, and nuclear energy is one of their priorities. They want to be active both in the internal and the external market with nuclear energy. And in China, there is a number of large-scale projects, quite important. But as opposed to Russia, in China, there are 2 or even more corporations that are responsible for nuclear energy. That's how they split responsibilities. That's how they split their objectives. The 2 largest are represented in here at the forum. This is the Chinese National Nuclear Corporation and the China General Nuclear Power Corporation, CNNC and CGN. Now I'd like to give the floor to our next speaker, Yan Chaodong, who's Deputy Chief Economist, Head of Human Resource Policy Department from the China National Nuclear Corporation, CNNC. Mr. Chaodong, how will the current rapid development of the China nuclear industry affect cooperation between China and Russia? Again, in the field of peaceful use of atom. Please, the floor is now yours, sir. Distinguished guests, distinguished representatives and the delegates, I am happy to be here in Obninsk, this amazing Kaluga region where the first civil nuclear power plant is located. Allow me to express my congratulations with the 70 years anniversary of the launch of the first nuclear power plant. In 1954, the nuclear power plant had been completed and the first energy was received back then. It was then that the peaceful use of atom turned from a dream into reality. And the global development of nuclear energy laid down the foundation of a new epoch where the humanity saw an extensive opportunities and the infinite possibilities of nucleus. After 70 years of development, nuclear energy has increasingly become an important pathway for countries around the world to ensure energy security, achieve low carbon emission reduction, and green development. And it is understood by everyone. It's the global consensus. Of course, China's nuclear industry had gone through a glorious journey of hard efforts, and it's about to usher in its 70th anniversary, the time when the nuclear industry of China was forged. Our corporation, the CNNC, has established a complete industrial system for nuclear science and technology, had made a number of remarkable achievements recognized by the whole globe. First, nuclear power had taken a big leap forward from zero. Now to having our own signed third-generation nuclear power technology with independent IPR. Hualun 1, our third-generation nuclear power reactor, has been put into commercial operation and now achieved mass production. Secondly, in a recent time frame, there's been, and like you rightly mentioned, a number of nuclear projects put into operations. Capabilities in NPP research and design, engineering, construction, as well as operation and methods have gradually reached the world-leading level. There's been a fully improved innovation system for nuclear science and technology. For instance, our demonstration project of high-temperature gas-cooled nuclear power plant, HTGR, has been commissioned. The third-generation uranium production technologies are currently being used. The uranium enrichment technologies are also becoming better. And when it comes to the application of nucleus, there's been some extensive applications in medicine, radiation, and security. It has to be noted that the cooperation between our countries was fruitful under the presidency of our leaders, and because of the intergovernmental cooperation mechanism, we are achieving better results. And it's already been mentioned that the 4 energy blocks of Tianwen NPP and Sudapu NPP started their construction under the witnesses of the 2 heads of states. Today, the world economy is gradually recovering. A new round of technological revolution and industrial transformation is accelerating. Energy transition towards green and low carbon is picking up speed. And global nuclear industry is entering the fast lane. Therefore, CNNC will continue to actively promote the rapid development of global nuclear industrial chain, continuously drive forward technological innovation, and accelerate the construction of a digital nuclear industry. Mao Zedong, when he came to Russia, to a Moscow university, he said, "The world is yours and ours, but ultimately it is yours. You young people are full of vigor and vitality. You're still in your prime time, like the sun at 8 or 9 in the morning. Our hope rests on you. I hope you will continue walking hand in glove, and you will continue developing your respective fields, cooperate in a pragmatic way, and contribute to your share of global nuclear industry." To conclude, CNCC is willing to work with all the parties involved to jointly build a more resilient, safe, and economical nuclear industrial and supply chain, push for more technological innovation and cooperation in the nuclear industry so that more countries can benefit from it, to promote contributions so that we can get bigger results, to build benefit for more countries in the world, to continue building a peaceful future and a world for the mankind that enjoys lasting peace, universal security, and common prosperity. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Yan Chaudun. Truly, the world is yours and ours. And thank you very much for this important message. Thank you very much for a very strategic take on this general responsibility that we have for the humanity by developing nuclear industry.
Before giving the floor to the next speaker, I would like to quote Mr. Blahintsev, who was in charge of launching Obninsk NPP. In his diary, he wrote that when he came back from the Universal Nuclear Energy Conference, that the launch of NPP caught the humanity by surprise. And it became possible because thousands of people across the Soviet Union had worked days and nights. And we all know that once the first NPP had been launched, the nuclear energy started developing all across the world. And in 3 or 4 years, the IAEA was created. It's a competent agency that deals with international cooperation in peaceful atomic energy. And our next speaker is Deputy Director General and Head of Department of Nuclear Energy of the IAEA, Mr. Chudakov. He has a direct connection with nuclear energy. He has a unique experience working at Kalininsk NPP and in the Russian Far East in the very remote areas. Your experience is truly unique. Being this top-tier expert in the field of the development of the creation of NPP, what are the goals that are faced by the global nuclear energy industry, and how youth can become a part of exciting technological breakthrough projects going on in the global nuclear industry? We are talking to youngsters here. Could you please share your experience and your vision for the future? Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I totally agree with you. When in 1954 we launched the first commercial industrial nuclear power plant, by the way, congratulations for that, the new era began. It was one of the elements for the creation 3 years later, in 1957, of the IAEA. The nuclear should not be limited to the non-proliferation efforts. We need to show to the nations that the peaceful atom can be used, and the nuclear energy should be peaceful and useful. At the same time, the department was created, and thanks to technologies and to Russian knowledges, we are number one in this department. The department changed its names several times. We added safety, security after Chernobyl, but initially, its initial name had 2 dimensions. First, non-proliferation, and second, the one that we call now, it used to be called nuclear operation, training and operation. I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. The department that I am the head of is now called the Department of Nuclear Energy. Of course, the launch of the first NPP was revolutionary, and all countries started developing their own NPPs in different areas. The Renaissance grew in pace, then following well-known events slowed down. In nuclear energy, we should always be talking about pros and cons, because without nuclear energy, our future is not secured. And regardless of your stand against the nuclear energy or in favor of the nuclear energy, the role of youth is of paramount importance. We support all international movements, including the youth nuclear movement. And after the initiative of our Director General, we created the dimension that supports women in nuclear energy, because it helps taking necessary decisions in the field of public acceptance, because countries, thanks to that, see the nuclear energy not as a threat or a weapon. Marie Sklodowska-Curie Fellowship Program is an important milestone. We support women and girls in nuclear science, in nuclear medicine, in safety and security. We give them a helping hand to graduate from the master's programs. We support them financially. We provide grants to them, as well as we pay for their accommodation. As for today, 560 women are members of the project. 160 women graduated already. It's a strong community, and we support them up the professional ladder. There are other support initiatives for youth, of course. We organize seminars, meetings, working reunions, international conferences. Next week, we will launch the Nuclear Knowledge Management Conference, and Russia takes active part in it. This year, the SMR conference will be held in October. Every year, in terms of nuclear energy future, we see great interest. 417 reactors are in operations now, which stands for roughly 10% of all energy generated globally, with less than 5% of project power. And I'm talking all in all for all energy sector. The IEA does its forecast, and the most recent one shows that by 2050 we will have 890 gigawatts of installed capacity, which is twice as much as we have now, but it will have also 10%. It's not enough to substitute coal, oil, and gas. At some point, they should be substituted. And the messages for our best friends, the renewables, the greens, they never include us in their club. And they tend to say that water energy, solar energy, and wind energy will 100% substitute all other energy sources, which is not realistic. And I will not list the reasons because most of you understand it. Only large generation, like pure, resilient nuclear generation, able to be dispatched, maintaining necessary frequency in the grid, can do that. But to achieve these 890 gigawatts will not be an easy task. Knowing the decommissioning plans, we need to commission 600 new gigawatts, which means 20 gigawatts per year. And in reality, 5 to 6 gigawatts are commissioned and decommissioned annually. We see that the interest is growing in all countries, and every African country that I visit, I'm being asked when Rosatom will start helping us to create our small capacity NPPs. I segue these messages to Rosatom. And in many countries, we can see progress in infrastructure creation. More than 30 countries either create or physically build their own NPPs. And 90% of them, or maybe 95% of them, are being built thanks to the Russian nuclear projects. Like the PWRs, for instance. We started to promote our small capacity reactors in Uzbekistan. An agreement was signed based on Rhythm 200, which is very reliable. So the future is for the nuclear energy, is for the youth. We need to build, we need to come up with infrastructure, and we need the youth we need them who believe in the future of nuclear energy. And we welcome here this gathering of the Nuclear Youth Congress members. We welcome you, and we will support you in all your endeavors. As I already mentioned, our schools are yours, our seminars are yours, you will be invited, and we are very glad that you cooperate with IEAE. My agency will always support this dimension and Russia to promote cutting-edge technologies on global markets, including in the developing countries. Often, these countries don't have any alternatives. They don't have oil, they don't have gas. They need to develop clean energy. Therefore, the future is reserved for the atom. And as Michael has just said, Takamaka reactors are prominent. Neutrons can be used as fuel source, of course, and we see billions in investments from private sector to develop thermal fusion technologies. But they hope to take electric generation and not as a neutral source. Maybe they are just slightly wrong. We need to try to take both paths at the same time. But I'm not talking about tomorrow. However, work is being done as we speak. In the nearest decades, PWRs and pressurized water reactors will remain our main resort, our main solution. I wish all youth that participate in this Congress to successfully promote the ideas of nuclear energy in your respective nations. And I'm absolutely convinced that in 5, 10, 15 years, should I live long enough, I will see you as heads of nuclear energies in your respective countries. As directors of NPPs, I wish you all the best. And I congratulate everyone on the occasion of this revolutionary event that took place 70 years ago, the launch of the first nuclear power plant, its connection to the grid, first industrial NPP located here in Obninsk. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dr. Chudakov, once again. I see and I hear similar ideas in all of your presentations to add 15, 20 gigawatts every year. We will need to see political leaders, strong political leaders in many countries. Up to 4 million people are expected to join the industry globally. Of course, you need to read wise books and be enrolled in fundamental studies. It's my pleasure to give the floor to our next speaker from the Chinese People's Republic, Mrs. Li, Deputy General Manager of the China General Nuclear Power Group. What dream you would like to give to the next generation of nuclear scientists? And any practical tips on that? You have the floor. Okay. Esteemed Dr. Likhachov, dear friends, young friends, by the way, good afternoon. Today we celebrate the 17th anniversary of the launch of the first NPP here in Obninsk. And I'm very touched by this opportunity to present my little speech, thanks to Rosatom, thanks to our Russian partners, and to take part in this event. Of course, Obninsk is a very well-known scientific town, the first scientific town. President Xi highlighted that our countries are connected with rivers and mountains. Our countries are adjacent. We need to support each other. We need to help each other. Of course, we actively cooperate with our colleagues from Rosatom. I need to say that Rosatom Corporation is a globally known company. It has a very strong international reputation. It has all the skills and experience. Globally, this is #1 company in terms of number of overseas nuclear power plant construction. In reality, we are talking about the global leader in advanced reactors and advanced nuclear fuel 3+, as well as in R&D activities to create all new fuel rods assemblies. I need to say a couple of words about the China General Nuclear Power Corporation that you can see here on the screen in front of you. The corporation pays great attention to the development of nuclear energy and to the construction of NPPs. We guarantee joint and transparent production culture. We guarantee necessary stability in the industry. Our colleagues are professionals that guarantee step-by-step development of the industry. And we can say that our atmosphere is very inclusive. Everyone is welcomed. As for today, we have 38 nuclear generating units that generate 43.81 gigawatts. And as far as installed capacity is concerned, in 16 countries and regions are allocated our generators, and 1 trillion yuan is the value of total assets. We are ready to cooperate with everyone to build up the future together. The scientists and engineers from the USSR created the very first civil nuclear power plant. They opened up the new era for the peaceful atom. 70 years on, we see that 32 countries and regions have their own NPPs, and overall generating capacity is 400 gigawatts, which means 10% of global electricity consumption. We understand that the development of atomic industry helps us achieve global transition goals, as well as decarbonizing the global economy. The development of nuclear energy, of course, gives us new historical opportunities for our joint development. For 3 years, we have been constantly building our new generation NPPs with new reactors, and our cooperation plays an important role in this activity. We see that, of course, nuclear energy is safer, is more environmentally friendly, and is used by more and more industries and companies. How can we create this extra momentum for this energy transition? How can we achieve the goal of saying to the humanity that nuclear energy, nuclear industry has no alternatives? To do so, we need to cooperate closely to promote joint goals. 3 ideas that I would like to share. First, we need to guarantee nuclear safety and security by all means possible. We need to guarantee it regardless of any obstacles, of all obstacles. All nuclear safety should be taken into consideration. Second, we need to actively cooperate with the IEAE, so it was 1.5. Number two, we need to adhere to innovative development. We should not forget that green and low carbon development is a goal on the global level. In this context, we need to strengthen all measures that are being taken in order to speed up energy transition. Three, we need to speed up and broader international cooperation with all stakeholders. Should be based on a win-win approach, and we need to share our experience, the experience that we gained in different countries. By doing so, it will help global economic development.
We see today that a lot of young people are taking part in this forum, and like it's been said many times over, they bear, the young people, they bear the future in their shoulders. They stand on the shoulders of our predecessors. As far as the younger generation is concerned, they shouldn't be afraid of trotting where no man has trodden before. They should lay the foundation for the future of stable development of nuclear energy, and our corporation is ready to partner with all the global players out there in the market in order to create a better future for nuclear energy development together. So CGN is ready to stand hand in glove with our partners here. Moreover, we are now developing a new educational center that will contribute to that, and it will be our joint future. The moderator had just said that there's hope for young people out there, and we must ensure that our nuclear energy is safe, green, and accessible. We also hope that the next generation of scientists in the nuclear industry will continue to run new experiments. They will offer new methods and new methodologies. They will show us how the energy can become more efficient, more healthy, and more useful for the humanity. I hope that they will prevail, especially they will prevail in fundamental science and theoretical exploration. May I call on you, young scientists, and may I tell you that you must not be afraid to dream. You must not be afraid to disrupt, to go beyond what's known. You mustn't be afraid of dreaming, creating new, and pushing forward. The things that were previously unknown will be known to you, and your approach to research must be an innovative one. You mustn't stay in the box. You should go beyond that. And you must also collaborate internationally. It's great if you can meet and talk to colleagues from various countries and various regions. Share your theories, share your methods. It will lead you to a mutual enrichment. You will become better, more knowledgeable, and you will know about things that you've never known before. It will help you to cast a different glance to a number of traditional problems, and it will enrich your scientific practice. When you do your research, please follow scientific methods, and please stay objective, and please follow scientific ethics. You must constantly strive to search for new theories, new approaches, and new methods, and you must create breakthroughs in traditional industries. Scientific research is a sphere that requires your full commitment. But this commitment rests on a spirit, a specific spirit. You need to be strong, and there has to be stamina. Relentlessly, you must continue building our joint future. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. That's it for me. Thank you, Ms. Lilly, for a very interesting input, and thank you for giving us a strategic overview of the future. And I think it's close to what our previous speaker had mentioned, Mr. Mikhail Kovalchuk, about nature-like technologies. Your name stands for clean green nature. or that is the way that it can be deciphered. And I'm thankful to you on our behalf for coming here to the forum, for taking part, and for being so open about the possibilities for international collaboration. Thank you for showing the respect. And in the end of this discussion, I'd like to give the floor to a representative of our youth, Ms. Jitsai Santaputra, who's a co-founder of the Youth for Energy Southeast Asia organization. Actually, my friends, university presidents say that in China and in Southeast Asia, when it comes to engineering subjects in 2022-2023, more than 60, and in certain places more than 70% of women got enrolled to these programs, including nuclear physics. So we see that there's a clear demand for engineering professions, and the IAA programs are a great stimulus to it. Ms. Jitsai Santaputra, you're an active expert trying to attract young people in the nuclear industry. You make science more popular. Can you please share with us what's your take on what's happening in the nuclear industry? And do you think the international cooperation is going forward? And which experts or which professions will be required today and in the nearest future? And if it's possible, can you also tell a few words about your dream job? Thank you.
It's always great fun to be the last speaker because I get to hear everybody else's great points and reflect on them and adjust my own. So it's really great to be here. This is my first time in Obninsk and first time in Russia. So thank you to Mr. Likashev for having us and for having all the young people here today. I would like to reflect on being a young person on stage, being young people, as a lot of you guys are students, studying undergrad, masters as well, PhD perhaps, that sometimes we feel like we are the minority. Sometimes we feel that maybe we don't quite fit in, and maybe a lot of people look at us, or some of you might look at me up here on stage and think, you're not an expert, you don't have a PhD, you're not a scientist, you're not a nuclear physicist, what are you doing on stage? And I think that kind of reflects what the nuclear industry is for the greater energy industry and what the world sees, especially from countries that may not have nuclear. They might look at nuclear and not really understand the role of nuclear, but everybody who's in the space, especially most people in this room, it's almost like an echo chamber where we all agree that nuclear is important, nuclear is necessary for the future, and it is such a big role of the energy transition, a just energy transition where people can have access to electricity, have access to power, have it to be affordable, have it be accessible, and have it be stable. And I think that's part of where the role of nuclear actually has such a big part to play, and it isn't going against what renewables, solar, wind, hydro, what they're going, but it has to go together. So I think that's going to be the main point of the end where I'm going to get to. But in terms of why I represent Thailand and why I've been invited here today to speak to all of you, is that the ASEAN region, if you don't know, is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which consists of 10 countries. In ASEAN, just within the last 2-3 years, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, and Myanmar, and a lot of other countries as well, have made tangible commitments, whether in their power development plans or meeting with the Director General just a very few months ago with very fruitful results, as I've read. So as a region, and speaking from being a Thai person myself, there's definitely growing interest among the region, not just the young people, but the whole country, including the political leaders, including government officials, including policymakers and scientists in our region. But because we are not, as a country, we are not experts in nuclear yet, we have a lack of manpower, of workforce, and that's where education, that's where events like Obninsk Nuclear Education Week is so important, so fundamental to not only raise awareness, but to also promote that nuclear education is available, is accessible. And I think that's something that many of my esteemed panelists here today have spoken to everybody, that there are resources there are scholarships there, internships are available, but perhaps some countries that have not been exposed to nuclear education, perhaps they don't know about it, so they can't even find it because they don't know that things are existing there. So how do we bridge that gap of communication, that gap of awareness? And that's something that is my work. I wouldn't call myself an expert. I would actually call myself a non-expert in nuclear, a non-engineer, and a non-scientist. But what I know well is what the people in Thailand want. I run workshops, I talk to local communities, I talk to educators and students. And what they say is actually the younger generation, especially in Thailand, 2 months ago I was giving a lecture about energy, and within renewable energy, most of the students put nuclear under renewable energy. They see nuclear as the path forward together. But when we go into more scientific spheres, it seems from the last 3 days that I've been in Obninsk, it feels as if that perhaps sometimes nuclear feels discriminated against, is what Mr. Kormishin mentioned in the previous panel, or clean energy is never included by us, as my other panelists have spoken. So these feelings, these perceptions are actually such a big driver of the path of nuclear, or whether nuclear is or is not accepted. I do not deny that the science of nuclear technology, the advancements, both power and non-power applications, are immensely important for the future of humanity. But for a general public, for people outside this room, even beyond Obninsk as a city, as a science city that promotes nuclear, I sit today on stage wearing this jacket. It is a Thai fabric. It's woven by women in communities in rural areas of Thailand. And I purposely wear this today, and with a lot of photos being taken of it, is that the people here, they want clean power. They want accessible power, affordable power as well. But they may not even grasp the comprehend the issues, the complex issues we talk about today, about the atoms, the future of nuclear, the next generation. But those people nonetheless are such a big part because they contribute to who votes, who's in power, what direction, what type of energies the countries would like. And that's where public opinion, public perception is so integral to where nuclear can go and to where it should go. So for among the countries in ASEAN, we want nuclear. We have students here, a lot of students I've met during the last few days that are from our countries, are studying nuclear here, but they are also questioning what type of career paths they can have when they go back, if we don't have power plants yet. Now, we know from our plans that the first NPP in the Philippines is going to be operational again. The plan is by 2032. That's in 8 years. We talk about 70 years. The plan for the next 70 years, I want to talk about 8 years, because in 70 years, that's almost too late to dream what that looks like. I want a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, and I know that the Director General is going to meet with the youth soon to also discuss this plan and get that involved. And I love that, and I appreciate and admire that, and I think all organizations, private, public, civil society, should have that type of impact team, an advisory board to at least hear what the young people want, not from just experts, which I'm sure there's a lot of advisory for. So to wrap that up, my multi-generational dream, what does that look like, right? How do you go from dreamers, as I am 100% a dreamer, and also a believer in nuclear from a country that has not started any nuclear power? How do we get there? So I have three takeaways. The first one is equitable access to nuclear education. That does not just mean for young people. Sometimes it means reskilling. Sometimes it means workshops for mid-management from corporations or even government officials, just to understand. We need to first move the understanding needle before we can move acceptance needle. So we need to understand first. So equitable access to nuclear education, hopefully globally, and I have heard a lot that Rosatom is planning for those type of programs. The second one is tangible career paths and job opportunities. So we offer internships, that's great. We offer these things. And then when people graduate from universities in Russia, as I have recently found out, that it's very difficult to get a job in nuclear energy in Russia if you're not Russian, if you don't carry a Russian passport. I think that there's many alternatives to that, but perhaps that is something to focus on, also how they can find their career path. In relation to that, I'm in the renewables field. My background is in solar. So I see that, okay, people can be policy, they can be analysts, they can be business, they can be startups. There's so much movement going on, but it almost feels as if in nuclear space, and this is my own feeling, that the nuclear space is not as dynamic, and perhaps it is because there is this perception that nuclear power is not as accessible in countries that don't have nuclear yet. So tangible career pathways. And the third one would be, how do we move the needle on the perception of nuclear as an important aspect, an asset of the just energy transition? Now, by just energy transition, it means inclusivity. Inclusivity in thoughts, in thought leadership, in ideas, in spaces like this, but also inclusivity of the people who make these clothes, who are uneducated, who are in the rural spaces, who maybe have no access to power right now, but we have to work for them. Because in the end, the transition, not just a just energy transition, but the just transition to a low carbon society, to a world we want to see in 70 years, in maybe 7 years, 10, 20, 70 years, that pathway, we go all together or we don't go at all. So no matter what happens in the scientific field, the realm, the future, but if the commercial, the industrial, both the private and the civil sector do not truly believe or understand, we do not have the same dream, the same vision of a clean energy future, and maybe that is going to make it more difficult for us to coexist as people who are pro-nuclear, perhaps don't mind nuclear, or even anti-nuclear. But the point is, how do we move to that people accept, that acceptance? So I'm sure everybody here believes that nuclear is a solution. I hear it again and again, and I am a believer of that. But how do we get that to be other people to believe that as well? And that is my mission. That's why we are here today as Youth for Energy Southeast Asia, and we know there's a lot of youth organizations that do that in Russia and outside as well. So let's cooperate together, and I think that's the final point. I think we move on together or we don't move at all. So let's be inclusive, let's work together, and let's do a great justice for the future generations and also the young people here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Спасибо вам за ваше очень воодушевляющее.
Thank you very much. That's been a truly inspiring presentation. Very emotional, very sincere. You know, I think we had a very good conversation. And it was like a full-fledged panel. It was more of a dialogue, more of a conversation, a fireside chat, if you wish. Today we spoke a lot about the future. I hadn't had an opportunity to give my own say, like each and every speaker in here. My role here was to try to find a common thread, to try to summarize. I represent here Dubna, which is a United Institute of Nuclear Research, and I don't think I'm here sitting by chance, because we're all coming from the same nest. We've all been fledglings of the Kurchatov Institute, Rosatom, Kurchatov, Obninsk. All these names are coming out of a very smart, of a very wise, of a very long and ancient Soviet nuclear project. And not just Russian projects are fledglings of that Soviet past, many international ones as well. What connects us? Dubna, Rosatom, Obninsk, is that the director of the nuclear power plant was Mr. Blahintsev, who was a director and a scientific advisor for the project for a couple of years. And then in 1969, he became the first director of the Joint Research Institute of an international organization that appeared because of Kurchatov's ideas. And under his leadership and guidance, he wanted nuclear science to be open, international, and world or global oriented. And I spoke a number of times about the diaries of Mr. Blahintsev, the first director of this NPP, and I would like to give as a present to all the participants of this discussion a copy of published diaries by Mr. Blahintsev. You'll find them ranging for 30 years, and he mentions a lot Obninsk, Dubna, and of course the future. And in order to conclude this part of the amazing conversation we had, I'd like to quote Mr. Blahintsev again, who said, at one of the events, after the NPP was launched, he said, "We are venturing into a new field, and we don't know what will come out of it. But the history teaches us, as soon as physicists pursue a new venue, they never come back empty-handed." And I'm sure that by applying common efforts, we'll be able to achieve some great success trying to venture towards our common dream. And since Rosatom is the organizer and the initiator of this amazing international event, what I would like to say in conclusion, you know, Mr. Likhachev, we opened up a door to the future, but we just opened up a slit. You need to open it wide. Mr. Likhachev, the CEO of Rosatom, can you please share the future to us, because we're in the city of the future. Well, first, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's present on this stage, to the moderator and all the speakers. Can we please say a huge gratitude, a huge thanks for your deep and very content-rich and profound presentations. Since you've quoted Mr. Blahintsev, and since you mentioned Kurchatov, academician Kurchatov, and other organizers of the project, this is extremely important because we are living their dream right now. Should they be here in this room with us, should they see that that's where the Center of International Nuclear Education is being born, this global center for personal training, I think they would have supported us and they would have said, Godspeed. And the most important thing is that there's two sides of the coin. When Russia would say two sides of the medal. There's a jubilee side. We're celebrating now. There's a 70 years achievement of the Soviet people. And there's a different side of it, this coin. It's the sign of the future. Any jubilee or any tradition is not just a tribute to the past. It's passing the baton to the future. Because here in the room, we have people who will carry the torch further, who will carry the banner further. We are proud of you guys, and we're expecting that thousands of students today will turn into tens and thousands and millions of proponents of nuclear energy around the globe. Thank you very much for being with us today.
I wish everyone makes some good noise and positive vibes of the applause for all the speakers on the stage. Thank you so much. And while you're gathering to leave the hall, I'd like the organizers to transmit the dreams on the screens for those who were actually typing their dreams, for those who were actually typing the dreams of the nuclear energy, or what are the dreams that you're having. We really want to see it on the screen. Thank you so much. Universal higher education, happy life, clean and just energy, space, семья, жизнь, just world. Just world, that's a good dream, just world. Okay, to be a leader. Raise your hand if you want to be a leader. If that's your dream, why not? Okay, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a lunch break right now, and we're gonna be back. We really want to see you back here at 3 p.m. The lunch break is going to be over, so this hall we're going to continue at 3. Thank you so much.